all we want to do is keep them all from flopping outside the aircraft. All right. All right. So we'll do it like that. And this will help keep them from moving around. All right. There are those. And now we're going to clip this off. I'm going to be careful clipping things off. You don't want to clip any of the other wires, only the zip tie. Trust me, we've all made those mistakes in the past. So we're going to take these and we're going to pull them up through that hole in the front. Now I didn't zip tie that wire bundle underneath overly tight because we may need to pull these a little bit. We want to have a little bit of slack, all right? But in general, that's how we want it to kind of look. We're going to pull those up to the front, and our Naza is going to mount right there like that, all right? But first things first. Now we need to take, we'll take these M8 screws. Again, using your toolkit, we're going to start screwing them in, all right? And Jay, you can speed this up as I do this. And through the magic of fast forward, that is how that's going to look once we tighten those in. All right, you want these good and snug. Now these aircraft are designed to be taken apart and rebuilt year after year. So we don't typically use Loctite on these. If this is an aircraft that you're going to build once and you're not going to take it apart, then you might want to put Loctite on those once you get into position. Now, I don't recommend doing that just yet because we may have to take this off and do a couple things. Occasionally you have to troubleshoot. So we're going to leave it just like that. Now, power management unit. All right. Now, there's a couple things that plug into this. So you can see right here, it's got an arrow. It says GPS. So the GPS antenna plugs into there. All right. This wire and this wire, these both plug into the Naza, different ports on the Naza. All right. So what you want to do is make sure that when you secure this, you have it pointing in the right direction or a direction that best suits what we're going to do. So here we can get to the GPS antenna point right there, and these are going to plug into the back of the Naza so they're in a good position here. So again, with the magic of zip ties, we're going to secure the power management unit right down here to the deck. And we're going to use the larger ones just because we want to make sure this is good and snug. Also, this is a place where we can put another piece of adhesive. All right. So for this one, I'm going to use the round ones just because we can. Goes back on there on top of where it says DJI because that's the smooth surface and allows us access to everything else. And the important information is on the other side of the PMU, so you don't want to cover that up. So I'm going to set this down here, snug it down like that. And I've got it in a position where I can get to this slot right here so that I can use a zip tie and really cinch it down. Chances are it's not going to come off with that adhesive on there, but keep in mind that you have four motors, four propellers, all running at different speeds as it tries to maintain its position, and it can cause some vibrations. So the adhesive along with the zip tie kind of gives us the most security that we're confident that this aircraft, these pieces are not going to come off. All right, so there's that. A lot of times we'll just want to tuck those wires on the side. All right, now next, the Naza. So here it is. So I am going to turn this. May make it a little bit easier for us all to see. All right, so front of the aircraft, front of the Naza. We're going to get ourselves another piece of adhesive. That's a little small. We're going to go with a slightly bigger one. These Naza kits come with adhesive. It's the same stuff. It's really good and sticky, and it really holds things together, holds it on there well. So it's very good stuff. So use whatever the aircraft kit came with because it is really good stuff. All right, so what we want to do, we want to make sure it's as straightforward as we can. It looks pretty good to me. and then we're going to press it down. Now you don't want to like stand on it, press it down, but you want it nice and firm, okay? There. Now, as Jay mentioned, we want to mark these, and I've got little marks on here, my own secret personal code. But I'll tell you this, that for a Naza system, this is motor number 1, and it goes counterclockwise from there. Motor 1, motor 2, motor 3, and motor 4, okay? So I'm gonna go through, find my motor 1, that's this one, and it's gonna plug into M1. Now, when you plug these in, sometimes the leads have what's called a key. So if you look at the lead on this, you've got a little slot right there. This will only plug in one way, and they do that so you can't plug it in the wrong direction, right? But with the Nazas, the black wire is the negative, it goes on the top. The red wire is the positive, it's always in the center, and then the white wire is signal, all right? So when they go in, black wire on the top. Sometimes these wires will be like this one, where they're brown, kind of orange and yellow, right? So the brown is the negative, the kind of orange is the positive, and then the yellow is a signal. So can get a little confusing, but that is how it goes. So there's number 1. Let me find number 2. There's number 2. It's going to go in here. All right. And this is 3 right here. Going to plug into M3. And there's number 4. Now, when we hook this up to the computer and use the software, the setup assistance software, we're going to do a motor test, a spin test. And when we do that, we'll test motor number 1 and make sure we're spinning motor number 1 and make sure it's spinning in the right direction. Okay? And we'll go over what the direction has to be later. But it has to spin, 2 of the motors spin counterclockwise and 2 spin clockwise. So motor number 1 and 3 spin counterclockwise, and motor 2 and 4 spin clockwise. All right, so we'll get into that a little bit later. All right, so if you look on the power management unit right here, you can see that says X3. Well, it's upside down, so I'll turn it so you can read it. Essentially, it says X3. So if you look on here on a slot, you'll see a slot right there that says X3. This plugs into slot X3. Not into X2, not into X1, not into any of the others. It goes into X3. All right, this one plugs into EXP, and it says right there EXP, and you look across here, it's a little hard to read probably in the video, that says EXP, and it's one that goes diagonally across the top. All right, now we're not going to plug that in right now because we have to put another wire in there in a minute, but that's where that one goes. All right, so now pardon me. All right, so we have a couple other components put on here. So this is what we call the LED, all right, because it says LED on it.